If your goal is an emotional YouTube story, I can absolutely help write a compelling relationship drama based on betrayal, broken trust, and difficult choices without focusing on explicit cheating. Here's one. The front door unlocked at exactly 2:03 a.m. I had been sitting in the dark for nearly 3 hours, unable to sleep. When the hallway light flickered on, I looked up and saw my wife, Rachel, quietly step inside. She froze the moment she realized I was awake. "I didn't think you'd still be up," she said, forcing a tired smile. I stood slowly. "Where have you been?" She placed her purse on the table without answering. After a long silence, she looked at me and said, "I finally got what I wanted." Her words hit me harder than I expected. For months, our marriage had been falling apart. We barely talked. Every conversation became an argument, and every apology felt rehearsed. She insisted she needed space to figure out what she wanted from life, while I kept believing we could still fix what was broken. That night, hearing those words, something inside me finally became clear. I walked upstairs, opened the closet, and brought down a suitcase. She stared at it in disbelief. "What are you doing?" she whispered. I said it gently beside her. "Pack your bags." She laughed nervously, convinced I wasn't serious. "You're overreacting." "No," I replied quietly. "I've been underreacting for a long time." The room fell silent. For the first time in months, neither of us had anything to argue about. She sat on the couch and buried her face in her hands. "I never wanted this." "Neither did I." She looked up, tears beginning to form. "I thought if I kept chasing something different, I'd finally feel happy." "And did you?" She didn't answer. The silence told me everything I needed to know. She slowly packed a few clothes into the suitcase. Every zipper closing sounded like another chapter ending. Before leaving, she stopped at the front door. "Do you hate me?" I shook my head. "No, I hate what happened to us." Weeks passed. The house became painfully quiet, but little by little I found peace in that silence. I started cooking again, visited old friends, and spent weekends with my parents. Life didn't magically become easy, but it slowly became mine again. Then one rainy afternoon, there was a knock on the door. Rachel stood outside, looking nothing like the confident woman who had walked away. "I've spent weeks thinking," she said. "I made terrible choices. I kept searching for happiness somewhere else instead of appreciating what I already had." I listened without interrupting. "I'm not asking you to forget everything," she continued. "I just wanted you to know I'm truly sorry." For a moment, I remembered our happiest memories. The road trips, the late-night conversations, the dreams we once shared. Those memories were real. So was the pain. "I forgive you," I said. Hope filled her eyes. "But forgiveness doesn't erase everything." She nodded slowly, already understanding. "I know. I'll always hope you find the happiness you were looking for," I continued. "But it won't be with me." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I understand." She turned and walked away. This time, neither of us looked back. As I closed the door, I realized something important. Love isn't only about holding on. Sometimes it's about having the strength to let go with kindness, protect your peace, and accept that some stories aren't meant to have the ending you once imagined. That night, I slept peacefully for the first time in months, not because everything had been fixed, but because I had finally accepted what I could no longer change. If you'd like, I can also write this in a more cinematic, cliffhanger-heavy YouTube storytelling style, while keeping the focus on emotional consequences and personal growth.